What's your favorite Israeli food? Shawarma.
This is a story about how Israel uses food to colonize Palestine. And it's all laid out right here, in this old Zionist cookbook from the 1930s. Dubbed the book that taught Europeans how to cook in Palestine, this is considered to be the first Jewish cookbook printed in Palestine before the establishment of the State of Israel.
To me, it read like a settler colonial manual using food.
That's Laila El-Haddad, a Palestinian chef and author from Gaza. We spoke to her about the connections between colonialism and food. Because under settler colonial states like Israel, it's not just land that gets stolen, it's food too. In order to do this, the settlers needed to create a new identity with traditions that connected them to the land they were strangers in. One way they did that was through food.
Adopting and appropriating the food and the cuisine and the ingredients of the land of Palestine served a greater political purpose, which was to put quote-unquote roots in the ground.
In the 1930s, the Women's International Zionist Organization published How to Cook in Palestine, a cookbook designed to help European settler wives navigate their new environment. The book offers hundreds of recipes, successfully tested at the World Zionist School of Cooking, urging settlers to use ingredients peculiar to Palestine, like olive oil, mint, and local varieties of zucchini and okra. She argued that freeing our kitchens from European customs in favor of healthy Palestinian cooking was essential to acclimating to their old new homeland.
It just read to me like a very typical, sort of what would a colonizer say or advise if you were coming somewhere else to a country where you wanted to establish roots and make it your own and completely reject and erase and invisibilize, the local population.
So what does this all tell us? The appropriation of Palestinian cuisine served a dual purpose, constructing a new Israeli identity while erasing the indigenous one. This is food colonialism, where the dominant culture appropriates the food of the colonized in order to reinforce both its identity and power.
Israeli salad, yalla!
All the while erasing how the settlers came to know these dishes in the first place, through conquest, violence, domination, and theft.
These dishes existed long before the state of Israel existed, and so therefore it would make no sense to suddenly rebrand them overnight as Israeli. If a Jew of Arab origin from Tunisia or from Baghdad was making a particular dish, then I would argue that that dish is Tunisian in origin or North African in origin.
Over the decades, a long list of Palestinian and Middle Eastern ingredients and dishes have somehow become Israeli. This cultural appropriation of food can be seen in trendy restaurants from New York to Los Angeles. These restaurants profit off of the appropriation of Palestinian and Arab food while erasing its origins and the struggles of the people who created it.
What that does then is that it contributes to the oppression of the Palestinian people and furthers the colonizers' narrative.
For settler colonies like Israel, control over food supplies and resources means control over the land. Israeli policies have systematically confiscated Palestinian farmland, making it impossible for Palestinians to maintain their agricultural traditions. Olive trees, a symbol of Palestinian heritage and a staple of Palestinian food history, are constantly being uprooted to make way for Israeli settlements. While settlers poison and destroy Palestinian grapevines, they tend to their own thriving vineyards and wineries on stolen land. Then they export that wine and advertise it as Israeli. Israel has even restricted Palestinians from harvesting traditional wild herbs like Za'atar and Akub, only to then market those same herbs as part of Israeli cuisine. And in places like Gaza, control over food and resources has become just as essential to genocide as bombs and bulldozers. Israel's blockade of Gaza has led to widespread food insecurity and malnutrition, further weaponizing food in the ongoing war.
When food contributes to the oppression and erasure and colonization of a people, it's no longer a benign civil act. It suddenly becomes a weapon of war.